Hi, and welcome once again to Mike's Laboratory. Today's video will be the first in a series where we take this beater Joe and put him back on duty. We're going to fix him, clean him, and bring him back to life. The first thing to do when you're doing a restoration, see what you got. You never know if you might have a rare, a figure that's a little uncommon, or maybe even something rare. This guy obviously is an adventure team figure, according to his head. A land adventurer, blue-eyed, brown-haired. Seriously needs a flocking. And you check his butt. Make sure the butt is a later stamp from 66 through 76, I believe it is. It'll have the patent number on there, and G.I. Joe R and R, and by Hasbro R. Okay, head matches the figure. And we'll do a little examination of his outsides to see exactly what he needs. Obviously, as I pointed out, needs a flocking and a good cleaning. He needs a bath. His arms are strung on the wrong way. The easiest way to tell that is because the mushroomed end of the rivet is facing the front of his body. Should be the other way around. If you turn his arms the way they're supposed to go, you can see his elbows point backwards. He obviously needs a hand here. Also, he needs a new elbow peg, forearm and hand on this side. Looks like somebody used some tape to hold the old one on. The figure has the usual knee cracks, which are pretty common. I've found that with my figures, I have worn a few with these cracks, and as long as they don't come around, and break this piece of plastic off, they're pretty much okay. I don't have any problems with them. And if you tighten the rivets up a bit, which we'll be doing later in the series as we fix him, that helps to close those cracks up a bit and prevent them from getting any worse. Okay, that's about, and he is missing a foot. That's about it for the outer examination. Anything else? Oh, nothing too serious, but there's a pinhole in him too. And he looks like he's been shot at with a BB gun a couple times. You can see those little indentations. Okay, this kind of stuff is pretty common, as is a painting. A lot of kids, for some reason, seem to paint them with blood, red paint. That stuff you can come off too, but fortunately we don't have to deal with that here. Okay, in order to clean him out thoroughly, we're going to take him apart. Anybody who's done restringing before knows how to do this, but this is a pretty simple process. For it, you will need a pick or a nail or a small screwdriver, something which you can stick underneath the hook to hold it up when you pull on his head so you can get his head off. Sometimes a pair of needle nose vice grips comes in handy for this. And sometimes this comes in handy. This is a restringing tool that I made. It's used for restringing G.I. Joes. You'll see how it's used later. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. As you can see, there's a loop at the bottom of that head hook. I don't know how well we can see that here. What you want to do is get his head pulled out far enough that you can stick something underneath that. Now in this case, this head, or this figure seems to be strung pretty tightly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a pair of needle nose vice grips. I'm going to stick them in there. I ought to show you this. Let's see here. Okay. Venture team heads come off pretty easily, usually. they're usually still soft and flexible. Once in a while you need to heat them up with a hair dryer to make the head soft so it pops off the neck. Obviously this time we didn't. So the other thing you'll need is a parts bin, so we'll just chuck his head in the bin right now. Okay, so now seeing this, I'm going to stop talking for a minute here and pay attention. What I'm going to try to do is get this pulled out far enough that I can get something in there to hold that head hook out. Okay, I got that in there. Now, pry it just a little bit. Hold that out. Whew. Mostly they're not that tight. And then the head hook just pops right off like that. There's a rivet in there. I don't know if you can see it. No, you won't be able to see that. There's a rivet in there that hooks on this. You just put the rivet in, or the hook in from the back side, push it up and pull, and then it's attached. All right, I'm going to clamp the hook, since the tension is so tight on this guy, in these pliers, in these vice grips, while I withdraw the pick so that it doesn't fly back through the body so fast. Might possibly damaging anything inside. And then just pop that loose. Once you let it go, and you can see how Joe is strung. A lot of you guys probably know how this interior works. Some of you may not. Then we can examine the inside. First thing to look at is the elastic inside of him. And even though it is pretty tight, obviously, you can see where some of the elastic bands are broken. There we go. And you want to look in here and see what kind of shape this eyelet on his leg's in. And it's in pretty good shape. I'm not seeing any rust in there either. And the same goes for this side. Looks pretty good. Again, except for, oh, not too bad on this side. I think I will restring this figure regardless, simply for the purposes of the videos, of the series of videos, and because these bands are broken and they'll continue to break. There's about half a dozen strips of rubber running through this elastic. Okay, on to this part of him. The torso. Get his arms off is real similar to getting the rest of it apart. Hopefully this will be a little easier. Okay, easier. Grab hold of him, pull his arm out like this, and you can either use the pliers again to clip onto that and pull it out, or sometimes, like I'm doing here, you can just pin it down with your thumb. In any event, what you want to do is take your pick again, or your screwdriver, whatever, and stick it through the loop of elastic behind the hook on the arm. Pull it out, and then you can just push the arm back and off, and it'll hook off. There's a rivet in there. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. You can see the rivet in there, and that's what the hook hooks around. Sometimes these hooks are this way, sometimes they're flipped around the other way. Doesn't really matter. All right, when you're done with that, just pull out your pick, and then the arm elastic will come loose out the other side. Unhook your other arm, and then examine your arm elastic. This one it's got some broken bands, little fraying on. Yeah, we'll replace this. It's torn pretty good right here. When you're replacing these, a lot of the kits have round elastic. Hold on, I will show you a piece. I'll explain this a little further somewhat in the video, but it's worth, in the series of videos, but it's worth doing now. The round elastic for the arms when it twists, it doesn't want to stay flat, or it doesn't want to stay in place. For example, when you're twisting your one arm forward and one arm back, and the arms will want to move in tandem. With the flat elastic that the factory used, you flip it over and it kind of lays on itself, and that doesn't happen. So you need to string the arms a little looser if you're using this type of elastic. Cotswold stringing kits have these. I use a lot of times these bungees from Kmart or from Walmart, and they're a round elastic too. They do the same thing. It's a little something to be aware of later. Okay, torso, aside from the marks noted before, it looks okay. Not seeing any stuff inside of it. So we'll toss that into the bin. We'll take his legs and his rest of him into the bin. And the rest of his pieces into the bin. Okay, and there you have it. Step 1 completed, inspection and disassembly. We need to flock them. We need to replace this pin. We need to clean them up, and then we're going to be restringing them, and we got to find them a foot and some hands. All right. Next up will be the washing and the purchasing of the parts to put him back together. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it's been informative, and if you have any questions, feel free to go ahead and message me. I'll be happy to answer anything that I can. Have a great day, guys. Bye.